Hello, it's me again. I hope you're enjoying my journey through my DVD and Blu-ray collection. It's Richard from Quality's Humulus Media, home of the Three Men and a Movie podcast. If you were with me before, we did A through C, and today we are going to do D through G. It should be a little shorter than last time, because I know last time I did say 15 minutes and we ended up going 25 minutes. So we're going to keep it condensed, hopefully this time, as long as I don't waffle on. Right. I will get my first pile. Right. Okay. So we start with Daredevil Director's Cut on DVD. The only version of Daredevil really worth owning. Explains a lot more than the theatrical edition and has actually a lot more depth to it. Dawn of the Planet of the Apes. Brilliant sequel. This is the thing with doing it in alphabetical order. You do tend to get films out of order like this, but there you go. Night of the Living Dead. This is the remake. Actually directed by Tom Savini, who does most of the effects in the original Dawn of the Dead and Day of the Dead. But then he took it upon himself to direct a remake of George A. Romero's Night of the Living Dead, and it was really good. Now I'm putting all the Dead films together, sue me. This is Dawn of the Dead, the original by George A. Romero. I don't think you need me to tell you much about that film that hasn't already been said. A classic. Dawn of the Dead, the director's cut, and this is the remake, and this was directed by, I can't actually remember. Oh yes, Zack Snyder. This was really good. I love this. It's a really good remake. It stays true in some terms to the original, but not too much. And yeah, it's really good. Worthwhile, let's just say that. That's out of order. Put that over there. Day of the Dead, the original George A. Romero. This is my favourite Dead film. I love Day of the Dead. A little slower moving than Dawn of the Dead, but it's fantastic, and the gore effects in it are just mind-blowing. That's a lovely slip on that. I didn't actually realise till I started doing this, it's actually an Arrow release. I got it a long time ago. Land of the Dead, which came after the critically acclaimed Day of the Dead, and there were some disappointments about that, but I enjoyed it as a good zombie romp. It is what it is. Diary of the Dead. This is George A. Romero doing his own take on found footage. I thought it was okay. Just okay. And the last one that I have, and I think it's the last one he did, of the Dead series, which is Survival of the Dead. I've still yet to watch that one. I haven't heard great things. Okay. Next pile. Deadpool, obviously. And I love the red case on this one. Lovely. Deadpool 2, the super duper cut, extended cut. Not as good as the original, I didn't think, overall. But still really cool. I mean, they're both great films. Oh, here we go. Here's my first of my, what you'd say, Richard Bournemouth films. This is the Death Wish remake starring Bruce Willis. Directed by Eli Roth. This is the uncut version. And it's just Bruce Willis wandering around killing people. It's, you know, it is what it is. Deliverance. A classic. And this is one of those old school DVD cases that no one has anymore. With the cardboard. I really like them. But the issue with them was that this bit always broke. And you'd end up with it being perpetually open all the time. So it actually worked. Pretty cool. I think I had the Matrix like that before I upgraded. Oasis, definitely, maybe. This is the DVD documentary. It's a lovely little set. I won't go too in-depth into it, but it's all about the recording of the album, basically. The Descent, from the same director as Dog Soldiers, which is coming up in a bit. I love this film. Neil Marshall, that's correct. Yeah. And as a person who's very scared of, well, it can't cope with tight confined spaces, this really is a watch. And then we have The Descent Part 2. I don't think Neil Marshall was a massive fan of this being made. I think he wanted to have The Descent as a contained film, if you like. But because The Descent made so much money, they made Part 2, and it's kind of pointless. It's okay for what it is. This is a double set. This is El Mariachi and Desperado. It's Robert Rodriguez's, as part of his Mexican trilogy. He did Once Upon a Time in Mexico as well, which I also own. Desperado. I haven't watched El Mariachi, and I think Desperado is almost like a remake of that, even though they're like a trilogy. Desperado is wicked. Devil's Advocate. What's the cheap feeling DVD case? Ooh, look at that. That's horrible. Feels like it's about to break, but it's a great film. Keanu Reeves, Al Pacino. I mean, Al Pacino's the devil in it. That's all you need to know. And here's one of my favourite films, called The Devil's Rejects. Rob Zombie directed. I kind of like all the Rob Zombie films in some ways. They are a bit of guilty pleasures, but this one, I don't think you can class as a guilty pleasure. I think this is just a really good film. Fantastic soundtrack. And I believe he's currently doing a sequel to it. So, looking forward to that. Right. Moving on. Next pile, as you were. Oh, it's Die Another Day. Piece of junk. But I own all the Pierce Brosnan James Bond films, and Timothy Dalton, and Daniel Craig, all the modern films, if you like. This is rubbish, though. Django Unchained, Quentin Tarantino masterpiece. A little bit lengthy, but they all are. And if you're in the mood for it, it's fantastic. Doctor Strange, another one of these lovely slips they brought out around the time of Infinity War, just before it. I mean, it's a good film, Doctor Strange. Really enjoyed that one. Doomsday, another Neil Marshall film. So the same person who wrote... Isn't that weird? He did The Descent, Dog Soldiers, and Doomsday. All D's. He likes the letter D, clearly. This is Doomsday, which is probably one of his lesser known films, but it's a really fun little... Basically, they've cut off Scotland from the rest of the UK with a massive wall. Almost Trumpish, if you will. And, yeah, it's a really cool little film. Action, gore... It's great. Donnie Darko, the director's cut. So this has got the... it's just the director's cut on here, which I've heard actually isn't as good as the original cut. I only own the director's cut, so that's a shame. But yeah, Donnie Darko. I haven't watched it for years, but when I was growing up, this was a massive, massive film, cult film, as it were. Getting a massive popular cult showing on DVD. Dogma, so another of the Kevin Smith cult universe, Cult Askew universe, View Askew universe, sorry. Okay, great film. And again, Neil Marshall, Dog Soldiers. So that was his first, I think it's his first film. Great film, Dog Soldiers. I like all his films. Drag Me to Hell, sorry, this was Sam Raimi's return. After he did the Spider-Man films, he went back to horror and did Drag Me to Hell, and it's brilliant. Dredd, not Judge Dredd, starring Sly Stallone, which, despite my love for Sly, was rubbish, let's be fair. But Dredd is brilliant, and if you haven't seen it, even if you're not a fan of the character, it's fantastic. Drive, I love Drive, and I love that case. White, awesome. Okay, that's Drive. You'll notice most of these are on DVD. I don't plan on upgrading any of these. No. Right, Dusk Till Dawn. Robert Rodriguez, starring Quentin Tarantino. Fantastic film, that one. Eden Lake, which is a lovely little horror film about a couple who basically go camping near a lake and get targeted by some teenagers quite brutally near the end. This is a film. It's Edge of Tomorrow, but it was called Live, Die, Repeat in some areas, and basically, it's Edge of Tomorrow. It's Tom Cruise, and it's a wicked film.
Says it on the side.
Yeah, it says Edge of Tomorrow there, and Live, Die, Repeat. I don't
like
know
its
why.
Slogan.
I don't know why they did that, but Equalizer. Anyway, I haven't got the second one yet. Fantastic, the Equalizer. Lovely, it's like matte finish to the slip. Really nice. Equilibrium, Christian Bale. Very, very underrated film. And Sean Bean's in this too. And I think one of the reasons it didn't get the praise it deserved, it almost does some of the fight scenes are very Matrix-ish. I think people just saw it as a Matrix copy, but it's actually got a fantastic story to it as well as some excellent action scenes. Oh, we're getting there today. Exit Wounds, Steven Seagal. You'll notice a lot of Steven Seagal films. This is Exit Wounds. I did have all of his direct-to-video releases at one point, but then I decided that I really didn't need them all. Most of them are dreadful, but I've kept the core, if you like, the core films. This is Exit Wounds. Aha. The Expendables. This is the extended director's cut. The Expendables are your perfect guilty pleasure, if you like. If you love your 80s action heroes, which I do, they're so entertaining, these films. They're not going to win any Oscars. And I think this, if you were going to go with what's the best one of them, probably Expendables 2. But they're all just great to watch. So that was the Expendables. Let's see Expendables 2. And this is Expendables 3. I know there's a lot of rancor, if you will, over the making of Expendables 4. I think Sly's fallen out with the director, and I don't think it's going to happen now, which is a real shame because they were a lot of fun. The Evil Dead remake. As before, I'll be doing my D to G box sets right at the end. This is the Evil Dead remake. Okay, on to F's. Face Off. Ridiculous film. John Travolta, Nicolas Cage, but amazing. It's John Woo. It's a great action film, and one I will upgrade. I've been trying to get the steelbook of that one. Fast and the Furious. So here's the Fast and Furious series. I've been reminded by my teenage son I am going long again, so let's get on with this. Fast and the Furious, the first one. Not Fast and the Furious, which is the fourth one. Too Fast, Too Furious. It's the guilty pleasure to me of the Fast and the Furious series. You have to be in the mood to watch that, but if you are, it's a riot. The forgotten Fast and the Furious. Tokyo Drift. I still enjoy this one. Lots of people don't. Fast and Furious. Why with these titles? Crying out loud. The return of the original cast when the Tokyo Drift bombed. This is okay. It's not an amazing return to form. This is Fast 5, and I think this is my favourite Fast and the Furious film. The introduction of The Rock and his camaraderie, if you like, with Vin Diesel. Even though I don't think they like each other in real life. Fast 6. At the time, I thought better than Fast 5. In fact, I think I remember coming out of the cinema and saying, they will never make a film better than this. I think I must have been high on M&M. Fast and the Furious 7, which is better than Fast and the Furious 6, and has an incredibly emotional end. I'm sure you all know what that's about. Fast and the Furious 8, the latest one where Vin Diesel goes bad. Final Destination 1 and 2 in a really average looking box set. And what is that cover art on that? I think it's meant to be a skull, but it just doesn't work, does it? Final Destination 3, the one on the roller coaster. It is one hell of a ride. Final Destination 4 in 3D, and this comes with 3D glasses. This is a 3D DVD. Why have I kept that?
Put one on.
This is a 3D. Oh, okay. So these are for those youngsters. This is what we used to watch 3D films with.
do your next one with them on.
No.
Uh-huh.
So that's what we used to watch 3D films with, and they actually produced a DVD which came with 2 sets, and I tried to watch it with the glasses on, and the whole film just looks like it's terrible. Final Destination 5, which is actually better than Final Destination 4, and has a cool ending, but I don't think they ever reached the peaks of 3. I think 3 was the best. Steve. Fire down below. He saves the wood. It's wicked. Forrest Gump, another of my favourite films. And this is a cool edition. 2 discs. Very nice edition. Look, I love a white case on a DVD. When it's right, when the poster's like that's white. I like how it's white. Just like white. The Football Factory, another different colour case. I like why there's not enough different colour cases in the world. This is the Football Factory Nick Love film, same director as The Business, which we talked about last week. It's Danny Dyer being a football hooligan. Classic. A part he was born to play. Friday the 13th, this is the box set. I can't remember who I think this is either I received this off a friend or I found it in a charity shop. I can't remember. But it's quite rare. Because it contains the first 8 parts. You have the first one where Jason isn't the killer, spoiler alert. The second one where he is, but he doesn't get his mask till part 3, which was in 3D in the cinemas. And then the ironically named final chapter, which is my favourite Friday the 13th film. It's a riot. Part 5, A New Beginning, where Jason again isn't the killer.
Copycat killer.
Jason lives. Yes, I know it's a copycat killer. Jason lives. Where that's when he became a zombie, the undead, if you will. Part 7, The New Blood, which is Jason versus Carrie, basically, and part 8, where he goes to Manhattan, but doesn't really, he doesn't turn up there to the last 10 minutes, and when he does, he doesn't do a lot. So Jason Takes a Boat is really what it's called. The Final Friday, it wasn't, but that's what it's called. Jason Goes to Hell. I've put all the Friday the 13th together. I don't want to put this or the next one in J, which is Jason X, which if you looked in the dictionary under Guilty Pleasures, you'd find Jason X. And finally, the Michael Bay produced remake. There's not a lot of point for this film existing, but it is entertaining. Especially when that Japanese guy drinks out of a shoe. It's good. Freddy vs. Jason, I've included this after the Fridays. I know it's not alphabetical, but it is almost a continuation of the franchise. I think it's more Jason than Freddy. But when I was young, I looked forward to this film so much. And I stayed up all night just so I could travel on the first bus in the morning to HMV. Why didn't I just go to bed and get up at 8? Oh, no. I was just so excited. I got home and watched it at 10 in the morning and went to sleep after it finished, obviously, because it's brilliant. I love Freddy vs. Jason. This is a 2-disc set. I've never even put the second disc in. But that is brilliant. And finally, as opposed to the quality of the last 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 films I mentioned, this is a quality film. This is Full Metal Jacket, Stanley Kubrick, and it's awesome. And not just me awesome, just awesome. Okay, the G's, let's get these in order, because if you didn't know, we just had an issue with order, which is why you might see a few strange cuts in here. So, where are we? G's. Right, we start with the Ghostbusters 1 and 2, the only Ghostbusters films ever made. Well, as far as I'm concerned, or as far as I know. So please tweet me if I'm wrong or do whatever you want, but I won't listen. Ghost Rider. I don't own the sequel because it's rubbish.
That's beautiful.
here's a film which is also rubbish, which is out of sync. It's a Geostorm, starring Gerard Butler. Gerard Butler fights a storm. The Gift, an amazing, taut little thriller starring Joel Edgerton and Jason Bateman and Rebecca Hall. And I suggest if you haven't seen it, you go out and watch that. Where are we going to? No, I put these all out of order, so I do apologise. Gladiator, a classic. I loved it when I was a kid, and I love it more now. Godzilla. This is the second American Godzilla. In other words, the good one. GoldenEye, which is the second James Bond film on this list. Timothy Dalton, not Timothy Dalton, Pierce Brosnan, and this was actually really brilliant. One of my favourite James Bond films, and it's got Sean Bean in it as well. Goodfellas, again in one of those cool cardboard cases with a double-sided DVD. You don't get them anymore. I don't think anyone really misses them. Grindhouse. Now, before Grindhouse, sorry. Oh, another Charlotte's, my young daughters. The Greatest Showman. Again, a different coloured case. And another one of Charlotte's. The Green Inferno, a cannibal film. God, look at this massive pile here. It's about to fall onto me. Let's move them over there. Okay, Grindhouse. Now, this is a tribute to the Grindhouse films in the 70s and 80s and has two films which in America were shown back to back in the cinemas with fake trailers in between. It was a great theatre experience. When they brought it over here, they didn't do that. They released them separately. They released them on DVD separately. It ruined the whole experience. I own both DVDs separately, and the versions you have on DVD are not as good as what you get on Blu-ray because they're too long. This is perfect package. It's to watch 3 hours, popcorn, beer, Quentin, Robert Rodriguez, brilliant. The Grudge, and The Grudge. I have lots of grudges. That's good one, Richard. And finally, in G, I think we've got there after 2 takes. Guardians of the Galaxy 1 and 2, and I realise on my first take of this case is broken. How angry am I? Yeah, you don't need me to say much about them. It's a real shame we won't see the continuation in this vein of Guardians of the Galaxy. We'll see where it goes in the future, but these were brilliant, weren't they? Anyway, just excuse me while I get my box sets. Hello! Again, yes, I've just been up to my shelf and got my box sets, which go from D to G. I'm going to try and keep this short because I've just realised we're running at over half an hour. I'm going to just have to do one letter at a time, aren't I? I waffle too much. Alright, first, stop fiddling, Richard, and tell them what it is. It's a Die Hard Legacy Collection. That basically means it's got every Die Hard in it, which I don't mind, but some people do because some of the later ones aren't to everyone's taste. Okay, so we've got Die Hard 1, my favourite film of all time, alongside Aliens. I mean, it's just a classic, and it does it. Of course, it ages. It's an 80s action film, but it's still so eminently watchable. Die Hard to Die Harder. Yes, Die Harder in an airport. Die Hard with a Vengeance. I love Die Hard with a Vengeance. It's Samuel L. Jackson. Poor final act, but apart from that, it's great. Die Hard 4. This is the harder cut, I think. Maybe. I don't know. Anyway, it doesn't matter. He surfs on a jet. Oh, well, here's one that everyone loves. It's Good Day to Die Hard. Genuinely considered terrible, but on the back, I've just read the Daily Star gave it 10 out of 10. And the Sun says the most action-packed Die Hard yet, 4 stars. So who am I to argue with horrendous Sun? And as a bonus disc, Decoding Die Hard. I've not watched any of that. But yes, I mean, yeah, Die Hard 5 is, you know, and watch it. It's a great collection. I think it was only like £15 when I got it. And I'd say, I know I have funny tastes, but I'd say 4 of those 5 films are good films, with 2 of those being incredible films, and 1 of them being the best. So, search it out. Right, so Evil Dead, we showed the remake earlier. This is the original trilogy, Sam Raimi. So you've got the first one, which was a horror film. It's not, I'd say almost a straight horror film. The second one, which was a remake of the first with more of a comedy vein. And the third one where it went full wacko.
It's a brilliant one, that is.
Okay, here's a film with a confusing history. This is the Exorcist collection. You get the first Exorcist, which is incredible and I think still holds up today. You get the Exorcist 2 and 3, which I'm yet to watch. But you also get the prequel, Dominion, and the Exorcist the Beginning. I'm not going to go into the ins and outs of the politics behind why there are 2 prequels to 1 film. You'd need to speak to my friend Michael from the podcast for that, because I don't quite understand what happened. But basically, I think the long and short of it is one was done by a studio and one was done by the original director. And it just got a bit messy, I think. So I think I've only still watched The Exorcist, ironically, out of the whole box set. Firefly. Fantastic TV series, criminally cut short in its prime. But the film they did, Serenity, which I do own, was a lovely continuation of this. I mean, this is fantastic sci-fi. The Godfather collection. I do prefer it. Oh, look how dusty that is. That's filthy.
Oh.
It's on my shelf. I do prefer when a box set almost comes in these individual slips like that. I love that. And they've got lovely artwork on. Godfather 2, Godfather 3, and a supplemental disc, if you like. Some of these boxes got a bit damaged in transit. It's a shame. But these things happen. Cardboard doesn't last forever, does it? Gremlins 1 and 2. Creature features at their best. And finishing it with the Guillermo del Toro collection. These are 3 of his earlier films. I think he's a fantastic director. This is Kronos from 1993. The Devil's Backbone from 2001, which was, I believe, set in the Spanish Civil War. It's fantastic. And my favourite of his, Pan's Labyrinth, which is a fairy tale on acid and is fantastic. Okay, we're done. Wow. That took a while. D to G. I think I might have to just do individual letters now, because it's getting a bit crazy, isn't it? But I hope you've enjoyed it, and we will move on next time. I'll decide how many letters we're doing when I see the length of this video. But I hope you enjoyed it. Please follow our channel, Collier's Humorous Media, and listen out for the next 3 Men and a Movie podcast, which, if you like, is our main event. Thank you very much for watching.